We just got to the start of our desert crossing. Over there are the dunes. Behind you is just a plain with some villages, and Rushid just dropped us and went away, so we are in the middle of nowhere. We have 10 liters of water, food for 3 days, and we have 26 dunes to climb. Let's go. We are in Oman and we are crossing the Wahiba sands, which go 180 kilometers from north to south and 80 kilometers from east to west. We are just on top of the first dune, and there are a lot of small dunes, like 1,000 of them, and walking in the sand it's super hard. Like every step is sliding back, and we need so much energy to get up those dunes. It's quite common to cross the Wahiba sands, but everyone goes by car and no one goes by foot. You should also know that the dunes run parallel from north to south, so all the people with the car just follow the line of the dunes. It's kind of crazy what we had in mind, because we decided to go from west to east and climb 26 dunes. Every bigger dune was like a mountain range, so there was no way to go around it. And the moment you climbed the big one, it was an up and down of smaller dunes. We used the cold temperature in the night to make most of the distance. We also timed our hike with the full moon, which gave us some natural light. In the first night, we started hiking at 8 p.m. Our Omani friend Rushid drove us all the way from Muscat to the beginning of the dunes. You can find his contact details just down below. All we carried in our backpacks was water, food, and some clothes. We didn't bring any sleeping bags, mattresses, or a tent. The water was already heavy enough, and we tried to minimize any extra weight. Our backpacks weighed about 13 kilograms. The plan was to hike all night long and sleep during the day. When we planned out the trip, we didn't really know how exhausting it would be. We didn't really know how much water we would drink and how many hours we would be able to hike non-stop. Good morning everyone, it's 8:30 a.m. and we are just having breakfast. So those are some dates with sesame seeds. And we hiked 20 kilometers last night, which were 10 dunes, like big dunes, but we also had to cross many small dunes. Like every time you go up a big dune, there are more small dunes. So we had many moments where we were crawling up the dunes. It was very hard, and this is the first food we are having. We are trying to get some more energy in. We had like half a liter of water, so we are still good for water. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no person, there's no goat, there's no camel. So we just know that we have to go this way, which is east, and then maybe in 2 days we will hit the road again. We continued hiking for an hour and were lucky enough to find this huge tree in the middle of nowhere. At that point we had hiked for 10 hours and we were quite exhausted. So we found this wonderful spot under this tree. It doesn't have any leaves but a lot of branches, so it gives us some shade. And we tried to sleep last night between 11 and 1 a.m. but we didn't bring any sleeping bags or mattresses, so it was just too cold to sleep. Like we just lay there and waited for the alarm to go off and start hiking again, because it was just too cold. During the day we couldn't sleep as well because it was just too hot. It's 3:30 p.m. and it's still so hot. At 4:30, after lying under this tree for 7 or 8 hours, we were so bored that we started hiking again. The hardest hours were actually between twilight and the rising of the moon. Our headlamps weren't strong enough and it was very hard to find the best way to climb the dunes. Many times we would hit a dune just on its steepest side. This is definitely the most exhausting hike I've ever done. With each passing dune, we got more and more exhausted. Our legs felt like butter. There was no way of sitting down for more than 10 minutes. Our bodies would just start shivering. It was so cold. So we continued hiking, putting one foot in front of the other. But many times it felt more like moonwalking because of the sliding back. We were so happy and grateful when we finally hit the end of the dunes. But the hike wasn't over yet. We basically just changed our hiking direction. Instead of going east, we were going north now. We had to make another 10 kilometers to hit a road. It was already 6 a.m. when we got to the road, and luckily enough, we found a car driving us to the next village. 2 hours and several hitchhikes later, we were back in Muscat. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more pictures of Oman, just subscribe the channel. Bye bye.